Okay, wow. Interesting. Ooh, this one's actually really nice. Ooh. Yeah, this is the one. We're back with another matcha taste test. Today we have 6 different brands that we're trying, and I just want to point out that I have a sty, so I'm wearing some glasses today. You might see it, I don't know, it's honestly a little bit hard to see out of this eye, but we're here today trying a bunch of different brands that you suggested that didn't make the cut in the first video. I'll leave that link down below if you want to watch the first one, and I'll tell you which ones I think are worth it and which ones are not as delicious. Today we're going to be trying Matcha Bar matcha, which I've had before, Encha matcha, which was highly requested, Matcha Kari or Matcha.com's matcha, Rishi Tea, Chamberlain's matcha, but the vanilla version, and the Thrive Market matcha. So the first one we're trying is Chamberlain Matcha. I have actually tried the regular matcha before, so I wanted to do something different and try the vanilla matcha. The regular was honestly not that bad. I just think that coffee is really her thing and it wasn't my favorite matcha, so I would stick to the coffee, but since this one was a little bit different, I thought, why not? Let's try it. This matcha costs $23. It comes in a metal can, just like any standard matcha. Okay, I have to admit I'm really excited to try this one because I've never had anything added to my matcha. I usually would recommend buying single ingredient matcha just because it's best for preserving the quality. And also I kind of have this like theory that if you're adding something to your matcha, it's usually because it's a lower grade matcha. When you have really amazing high quality matcha, you usually don't want to f around with it. But that being said, this smells really good. When we were whisking it, it smelled amazing. And I do really like to add some vanilla bean paste or vanilla extract to my matcha latte when I drink it. So I think it'll be interesting. It smells really good. The color looks not too bad in this glass, but I will say when you open the tin, it looks more yellow brown. And it's probably also because there's like vanilla flavor added to it. So it's got that not so delicious matcha color. Keeping my mind open. Interesting. So it's really weird because it's a pretty bitter matcha. It has a strong bitter aftertaste, which is why I didn't really love their original matcha. The first taste that enters your mouth is vanilla. It's just kind of weird because there's no sweetness at all. And the vanilla flavor is actually pretty mild too. So even if I was using this in a matcha latte, I would probably still want to add vanilla to it. Vanilla helps to kind of ease off some of the bitter flavor, but I still taste it at the end. It's like very overwhelming. So I kind of just feel like it's like a cover for some not so great tasting matcha. Maybe it'll be really good with milk though. So I think with the milk, you can see that it leans a little bit more yellow brown. The color is not so green and nice as I would usually like it. But like I said, it wasn't awful tasting and I'm hoping it tastes really good with milk. It's not bad, but it reminds me of when you get like a flavored sparkling water and there's no sweetness. Like I prefer Spindrift because it has a little bit of actual fruit in it and like flavor and a little bit of sweetness versus like a LaCroix, which has like no flavor. It's like a tease. You feel like there's flavor, but then it just like goes away really quickly. It's just, I don't know. I probably wouldn't recommend this one. You could just add vanilla extract yourself to any quality matcha that you like and you'd have the same effect, honestly. Okay, next up is Matcha Bar. I've had this matcha before. I always used to love their lattes when I would live in New York and I was really a big fan, so I think I'm gonna like this one. The smell is there. It's got enough of that like aroma and the color looks great to me. It's this very deep, vibrant green. So let's try. Yeah, much more flavorful in the first taste that you get. It's not just immediate bitterness, which I really like. And this is actually one of the matcha brands that I usually recommend to people when they're looking for something that's like more affordable, but still quite up there in quality. Let's try it with some milk. Oops. Yeah, the color looks really good, especially with the milk added. I think it actually stands up a little bit more to the milk. And let's try it. Yeah, this is a solid matcha. The bitterness, there's a tiny bit of it at the end, but nothing out of the ordinary. I really like this. It's a lot more smooth and I think it's just more drinkable. Like this will be so much more pleasant in a daily latte and even as an Americano because it's not too bitter. And I think if you're making a mixed drink of any kind, you'll really enjoy this one. So like I said, the price is kind of in the middle. I think it's a pretty good quality for the price and still one that I would recommend. So I'm standing by this one. The Thrive Market matcha. I'm really excited about this one because I know a lot of my friends really love the subscription. And so if you're ordering groceries, you might as well throw matcha in. The Thrive Market matcha is $10. The price is great. And the color surprisingly looks really good. It's actually got a really vibrant green color, not too much of like the yellow brown shade going on. And the smell is also pretty nice actually. Kind of mild. I'm not smelling as much as I feel like I normally would with my preferred matcha, but let's give it a try on its own. Okay, wow. Woo. It's very strong. It feels like it punches you in the face a little bit because it's got a really bitter aftertaste and almost tastes more like green tea than matcha, meaning that the lasting taste in your mouth is just like really bitter. It's almost like tannic, very astringent, but it's not the worst. And I think that if you're a coffee drinker, maybe this is something that you'll be into because I find coffee to be very bitter. It's very smooth, I will say. It's just, yeah, the bitterness gets you really quick. Okay, now we're gonna try it with some milk and just make a basic latte. Yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed. Like the color is really not bad. So it's in the sun, so it looks just like a little bit lighter, I think, than it does in real life, but it's actually not bad. It looks like a decent matcha. A little bitter. I'm not really tasting much flavor other than the bitterness once you add the milk. So I think that, like I said, this isn't a bad matcha, but you'd probably have a better time if you drank it on its own or without milk. The milk really overpowers it and all that's left is just like that bitter aftertaste. So it's just like bitter milk. But that being said, I mean, the color is pretty impressive for $10. Everything else about it is not that bad. The next matcha we're trying is Encha matcha. This one was highly requested and it's got, again, a beautiful, really deep green color that's very bold. The Encha matcha is $16. This one smells not like too much actually. But what I did notice is on the bag, it says it's the first harvest, which is really important because the term ceremonial, there's no numerical quality to like what makes something ceremonial versus not, but usually it refers to the first harvest. And with matcha, every time you harvest it throughout the year, the flavor and the nutrient quality degrades. So you really wanna go for the first harvest if you're drinking really good matcha. So since it says that on the bag, I'm really excited. This one is really smooth. It's not super flavorful, but it has that slight bitter aftertaste. Nothing as bad as like the Thrive Market one though. That one is extremely bitter compared to this. I feel like this is a good neutral one. It would actually be pretty good for having it like Americano style with just water added. Yeah, it's not the worst. Definitely got that strong bitter green tea aftertaste going on though. Let's try it with the milk. Pretty. The color on this one definitely looks much better. It's a more vibrant color and like really holds up with the milk too. Flavor-wise, there's just not a lot coming through, which it reminds me of a less bitter version of the Thrive Market matcha. I feel like with a matcha like this, you need to add more of it to a drink to actually taste it, which to me means that the quality maybe is not there too much. It's just really not a bold matcha the way I would like it to be. But it's not awful. The color is nothing to be afraid of. Sometimes I see a matcha that's like really brown or yellow and it immediately turns me off from it, but this color is not bad at all. This isn't the worst, but not my favorite. All right, we have Rishi Tea's matcha. This is the ceremonial grade. The Rishi Tea matcha is $18 and it comes in a really nice white can. I actually really love the look of this one. They have a couple of varieties available on the website, but this one specifically is organic in single origin, which just means that they're not blending it with a bunch of different matcha brands or farms, I guess you could say. Organic though tends to have less flavor because it kind of interferes with the traditional way of growing matcha a little bit. So keep that in mind, but the color is looking good. It smelled pretty good, kind of mild and toasty, and I'm excited to try it. Ooh, this one's actually really nice. This one has a lot of body, like the flavor of the matcha is there. And then at the end, there's like a tiny bit of that tannic flavor, but nothing too bitter at all. This is really actually very lovely. So I'm really impressed by this. And especially for an organic matcha, this is really nice. Let's try it with milk. This color looks really good, just at first glance. The difference between this one and a lot of the matcha that we tried before is like the flavor really comes through even with the milk. So I think that just speaks volumes to the quality of the matcha itself. Ideally, you should be able to taste your matcha despite adding milk. If you think about coffee in that way, you should be able to taste your coffee. So same thing applies with the matcha. No crazy bitter aftertaste, which is really nice and pleasant to me. I think this is a pretty good mid-tier option. I would actually, yeah, I would recommend this one. This is a good entry point if you're not wanting to shell out too much on matcha, but you want something that still tastes good. Last but not least, we have Matcha Kari or matcha.com. I'm really excited because I have also had this one before. The matcha.com is the most expensive one that we're trying today. It's $42, but I also know that they're really great about quality and they care a lot about matcha. They have tons of matcha research on their website as well. So I have a really good feeling. And the color, I mean, the color looks so good. I think with matcha, unfortunately, it really is like where you get what you pay for. The color on this is looking great. It's very deep, it's very dark, but also vibrant green. No brown going on, no yellow tones, and it smells Smells really good. Let's try it alone. I mean, this one is really good. It's very smooth. There is a little bit of that natural matcha bitterness, but it's not anything where it leaves your mouth feeling bitter. So with the other matchas that we tried today, it's like the first thing you taste is the bitterness. With this one, you actually taste matcha and it tastes, I mean, it's lovely. Also want to add that this one is organic. So like I said earlier, with organic, it tends to kind of lessen the flavor boldness a little bit, but this one is still actually very flavorful and really, really good. I'm excited to try it with some milk, so let's do that. I think out of all of them, this one has the deepest color and it looks really good even when added to milk. Yeah, this is the one. This one is the most expensive, so I think my expectations are also a lot higher, but this is definitely the best tasting. I think there's just something about the way that matcha is produced that really affects the way that it'll affect your palate. You don't want something that tastes super bitter that makes you feel like you need to eat something or drink something after. Like, this is perfectly refreshing, not too sweet, just got a really smooth, rich flavor. Like I said, you kind of get what you pay for. So I think if you're spending your money on good matcha, usually you won't be disappointed, and this is definitely one I would recommend. They also have tons of matcha education on their site, so they really know what they're talking about as far as like the science behind matcha. I like this one. I feel bad because I feel like a little bit of a matcha snob, liking the most expensive one, but it is truly, really a good matcha. I think the top 3 contenders for today's taste test would have to be Matcha Kari, Rishi Tea, and Matcha Bar. I would say that Matcha Kari, you're getting the most bang for your buck because I really trust the quality of it. But again, this leans on the more expensive side, and I think this might have been one of the most affordable tiers of matcha that they offer. There are some cans you can get that are like $70, $80. So it kind of depends on how much you want to spend on your matcha. But that being said, I don't think you'll be disappointed if you ever purchase something from Matcha Kari. Rishi Tea was a big surprise for me. I was not expecting to like it so much, and it only cost $18, which I think is really impressive because the flavor was really lovely actually. And for an organic matcha, again, not bad at all. So I'd recommend this if you're on a budget and you want something that still tastes pretty good. I don't love it as much as my everyday matcha from Ippodo, but it's really not bad at all. I would be happy to drink this any day. And then last but not least, we have, of course, Matcha Bar's matcha. I've always loved them and been a fan of it. I think it's a perfectly reasonable priced matcha to drink every day if you're not wanting to spend too much on your matcha. Great place to start, especially if you're new to matcha. I think this will be a good introduction. This one is also not organic, so it does, I feel like, have a little bit more of that bold flavor, but if organic is important to you, then definitely go with Rishi. It's also more affordable, or you can try the Matcha Kari matcha.com one. I'll leave most of the matchas that we tried linked in the description box below if you want to check them out for yourself. I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to preference. Everybody has a different palate and a preference for how they like their morning drinks, including coffee. So if you think about it, some people prefer dark roast, light roast, and the same applies to matcha. Some people prefer something a little bit more bitter. And at the end of the day, I think it also matters what your budget looks like for something like matcha. So if there's something that I did not enjoy that much that you enjoy, it really doesn't matter. Like I said, just find something that you like. But if you are looking around, then I hope this guide was helpful for you. And I'll do another video soon with some more matcha taste tests. It's just a lot of matcha at one time. So we're spacing them out. I'm also gonna link my Matcha Magic ebook down below. It's a free downloadable guide. It has everything you need to know about matcha. I didn't get into it too much today because there's just so much to say, but if you're ever curious about health, how to prepare it, how to find a quality matcha, everything and anything you need to know about matcha will be linked in that ebook. So check it out and I'll see you in another video. If you have any that you would like to see me try, leave them in the comments below. And until next time.